Welcome to the channel, everyone. If you've been around for a while, you know we love breeding guppies. And in fact, we've bred guppies in all types of setups. Intricate aquascapes with waterfalls. We've bred them in plastic tubs. That's simply because they're so easy to breed. We've even gone as far as trying to isolate a specific color strain that we called the unicorn guppy. But today, we will be completing our largest guppy breeding setup to date. This is a blue stock tank from Tractor Supply. It spans 8 foot across and 2 foot deep and holds approximately 750 gallons of water. We will be setting this up in the garage today, adding substrate, a filtration system, and getting this water just perfect for all of the fish and plants that'll be going in here. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into setting this thing up today. Now it's time for a water test. We'll come back after 24 hours and check on this thing.
Tomorrow.
Well, as you can see, unfortunately, this plug is in fact leaking. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this plug, clean out the threads, wrap this with some Teflon tape, put it back together, and we'll come back and check it again in 24 hours. Because unfortunately, with this sitting in my garage, the last thing I need is 700 gallons of water spilling out all over my floor. Well, since we're here at Lowe's, we're gonna go ahead and look and see if we can get a new plug for this stock tank and hope that that will keep it nice and sealed. This thing should be a 1 1/4 inch. All right, guys, well, what we have is a threaded union that is the same size. It's 1 1/4 inch that will go right into that fitting on the side of this pond. We will then connect that with a much smaller piece of PVC and then add a ball valve on the end. What this will give us is the ability to drain this pond quite easily, where right now what I'm having to use is a big huge pump when we need to do a water change. So this will be really nice to be able to easily and quickly do water changes on this thing. So we're gonna go ahead and do this, and then of course we're gonna need to weld this using some PVC cement, and we're gonna go ahead and pick this up as well. We have a couple of more things that we have to get today, and that's going to be all of our substrate for this pond, and we're gonna go out and grab that right now.
Tomorrow.
All right, guys, we are here to check on this new pond that we set up, and I haven't checked on this thing in 24 hours. So there's only 2 outcomes of this. Either everything's good and we're ready to move to the next step, or my garage is flooded. As you saw, the pond is still very much leaking. It is a very small leak, and in 24 hours it probably leaked maybe a couple of tablespoons of water, but I don't care. I don't want to even start with that. I mean, I'm going to fill this thing up with hundreds of pounds of substrate, plants, wood, a filtration system. I don't want it leaking at all. So we're going to run out to Home Depot, grab some 100% silicone. We'll make sure we silicone that hole up real nice and tight around that ball valve and make it permanent. I want you to understand, this pond will be the biggest, most beautiful pond you've ever seen. In fact, when I waddled into this garage, I looked over and thought, wow, what a big, beautiful blue pond. And I'd like to share that with you. All you beautiful people watching YouTube today, let's get out and get these supplies and get back and take a look at this big, bold, beautiful pond. All right, guys, well, it's been 24 hours since we put all of the silicone on the inside of this, just around the edge right here. And then of course on the edge on the outside here. That should be enough to seal this thing up and to leave it in a good working condition where it's not gonna flood my entire garage at some point. I'm gonna set this paper towel right there underneath the tub as I let this down, and that's because if this thing actually leaks, that paper towel is going to soak up the water, and the absorbency of it is actually going to pull the water into it, so I won't have to lift this thing up to see if it's actually leaking. So we'll let this thing sit for 24 hours and we'll come back and check on it.
Tomorrow.
It has been well over 24 hours and our new solution for this plug is working. The paper towel is completely dry, indicating that there is zero leakage occurring from this pond, which is great. It is now time to get this pond set up. And in this video, of course, what we're gonna be doing is setting this thing up, filtration, substrate, everything to get this thing ready for plants, fish, everything like that. So let's go ahead and get out and start cleaning up all of this substrate. Well, we have most, if not all, of the substrate in this pond. We have a nice little area back there kind of cleaned out that the filtration is gonna go into. And that's actually the next step to this, is working on getting the filtration set up. And what we're gonna be using for that is a Brute trash can filter, similar to this one right here. And we may change it up later on. It just all kind of depends. But let's go ahead and get this filter cleaned out and set back up to go into this pond. Okay, so we have our filtration system, which is a trash can filter that is sitting up on top of these cinder blocks, and we've got it moved out a little away from the side of the pool here. And the reason is because we want to be able to run our inlet pipe up the back of this, so it's kind of hidden a little bit. But we're going to get this set up now. We've got our PVC pipe in here. We're going to go through real quick before we set it up and go back and look at how we actually built this filter for the pond. So let's roll that now.
This is a very simplistic setup. What we're gonna start with is drilling an inlet right here in the top of this can with our hole saw. If you don't know what a hole saw is, it looks like this, has a drill bit in the middle and then a saw blade on the outside, and it drills a perfect circle hole into something. We're gonna use the drill, and that'll allow our piece of 1-inch pipe to fit perfectly through that hole. Now we need to allow water to escape. So we're gonna make our outlets about here. What we wanna do is just drill 3 holes right about the same height across. What we're going to be doing is taking these little rubber washers and putting them around these couplers and pushing these all the way down on, because we want to make sure that we have a nice seal around our openings for our water so they don't leak. And then it's going to take a little bit to get these in here because I drilled the holes a little smaller. I drilled them as a 1-inch instead of a 1 1/4 inch, which is what these are, because I want it to be a nice tight fit, and you can just screw these in, which will make it fit nice and tight. We're going to do that for all 3. We have these completely pressed through on the inside, and we're going to go ahead and add a washer to the inside as well. And then we're going to tighten that down. I could have used a plastic nut, but they didn't really have any great options for that. So this is just a female 1 1/4 inch coupler. It makes her a great way to just tighten this down, make a good tight seal. And this is what the outside of it looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these elbows and we're going to place these in here, and we're going to screw these in. Let's go ahead and get our filtration media into this setup, which is going to be some red lava rock. Now this stuff is going to be super dirty, so we're going to wash this out real quick. So with that, we're also going to add some of our filter media. It's already got beneficial bacteria in it. Make sure that this stuff is nice and spread around. The water will come down, hit the filter pad, soak through the beneficial bacteria in the rock, in the media, and then flow upwards outside of here, and then right out the holes right there.
This thing is like 8 foot wide, right? So it is a massive, massive pond to be simply breeding guppies in, which is gonna be fantastic, guys. With that, let's go ahead and get this filtration system set completely up.
Well, we have the filtration set back up and we are currently filling this thing with water. And if you look here, we have our intake, which is the pump, and it's gonna suck all the water from this side of the pond, taking it all the way down this PVC, up through the bottom there, around the back, up to the top, and down inside of this trash can. Where inside of this trash can, we've got carbon mat, which will remove all of the chemical elements. We have a ammonia removing mat, and then we have all the lava rock, which will be our biological filtration, and it'll filter that water through, and then once the water rises, it'll then pour out of these outlets right into this pond, leaving this pond crystal clear and super clean for these guppies. So now we just have to let this thing fill up. Once it gets above that pump, we'll go ahead and start pumping the water. We'll plug the pump in so it can start filtering this water through the filtration system. We'll get some dechlorinator in here and everything else. And then, well, you know what's next, guys? We're gonna have to plant this thing. We're gonna have to put fish, all kinds of stuff in here. The filling of water is complete. The filtration is running. However, we still need to dechlorinate all of this water, and there's a lot of water in here. About 700 gallons. So we are going to be using some of our favorite, which is API Stress Coat for ponds. And we're gonna go ahead and get this completely dechlorinated. That way, the bacteria can start to colonize in the substrate as well as in the filtration system. We'll ghost feed over a couple of days, and then we're gonna use some product from API called Quick Start to jumpstart the cycle in this system. But everything so far is looking fantastic. We're still not leaking down here out of the outlet port. This is gonna be amazing, guys. Let's get this thing dechlorinated. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know we have bred many hundreds, if not thousands of guppies here on the Christopher Scott channel. And today, this is by far our largest breeding project to date. What we will be doing is taking delivery of our plant order and our guppy order for this pond. So with that, we've got to start by doing one thing. We need to go ahead and add some quick start from API to this pond to get the cycle started a little faster, because I did test the water and it's just right there at the cusp. So a little quick start will help jump start this thing before we put these fish in here today. Since we're looking at about a 600 gallon, oh, actually, before we get into adding the quick start, I did put a heater in the bottom of this pond. That is a pond heater. It's from a company called Higer. I'm trying out some of their products here, and this one actually I'm quite impressed with. So I put that in there. The water, when I put it in, was 62 degrees in this garage, and this thing in just 24 hours has heated it up to 77 degrees. I did drop it down to 75 degrees because I put it at 79 degrees, so the water temperature is dropping pretty quick, which is good. So this thing will maintain, and it looks like it's working pretty well, so we'll see how that works out. This is about a 600 gallon pond, so this is 10 ml per 10 gallons, so it's basically 1 ml per gallon, which means we're gonna need 600 mLs of this, which is right at about what's left in this bottle. So we're gonna go ahead and get this in here. We're gonna put it all the way around the pond. We're gonna put it over the pump here so it will suck it up into the filtration, and this will actually help jump start this water, and we'll keep just adding so many fish to this at one time. It'll keep the ammonia under control so we don't have a big, huge fish kill that occurs. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get this stuff in there today. So to start, we went ahead and floated all of the plants that we got in as well. There are other plants that we ordered for the other pond as well. So as we get these plants in here, we're gonna go ahead and float, and that is to temperature acclimate the fish in this pond as well. We'll put them all off over here in the corner, and then we'll take a look at those guys once we get all the plants in and we get them fully acclimated, temperature, parameter, and all of that kind of thing. And then we'll, you know, so yeah, so let's go ahead and get these bags in here. All right, guys, well, we have all the plants now inside of this pond, and as I was saying, we didn't scape this. This is just putting the plants in here randomly so they can get submerged and start to acclimate to their new environment, because these plants definitely, well, at least the potted plants definitely don't seem to have come from a underwater setup, so we're probably gonna have some die off and regrowth. But with that and all these plants now in here, it's time to go ahead and start acclimating some fish. But before we do, I want to do one last thing, and that is I want to come over to this pond where we have some established growth. Things are doing very well over here, and I want to move one of these pond plants into that pond. And what we're going to grab, don't mind this guy right here, this is for something else. We're going to grab this dude right here, which is a huge lily. So we're just gonna drop this thing right here, And it's probably gonna dirty up the water a little bit, but that's okay. It's full of beneficial bacteria, and this thing will do really well in this pond as well. So yeah, I want a big pond plant in this guy, and that's all I have is what's in over there. We may be able to separate this thing soon and move some of it back, we don't know. But for right now, we're gonna put it in here. So with that, guys, that finishes up all of the pond plants. And now, the only thing we have left really is to get these fish acclimated and get them in here. So let's get that done now. All right, guys, well, we have the first set of fish completely acclimated, ready to go in here. I got some assistance from Mac. You haven't seen him in a while, but we're gonna go ahead and get all these fish in here today.
Six months later.
All right, guys, well, we're here and we are going to check out this guppy breeding pond. It's been a while. I actually put this video together back in January. It's now May. A lot of things have actually changed in this pond that you guys are gonna get to see today. Number one is, well, actually, we're not even gonna talk about that. Let's just go take a look. Well, as you can see, this pond is pretty bare again, and that is because we sold all of the plants that were in here on freshwaterscrub.com, with the exception of this lily right here, and there's some java ferns down in there and things like that, but everything else was sold, as well as all or most of the guppies have been sold. We had only a couple guppies left. Those are the two lone guppies that are left. Everything else is gone. We have gotten rid of all of it, and we are gonna go ahead and restock this thing today in the same video. So with that, let's go ahead and fill this thing back up with fish, put some more plants in here, and continue on this trek of breeding all of these guppies for profit, basically. We're gonna start with another one of these massive lily pad plants. I can't think of what they're called, but it's basically lily pads. All right, guys, well, now for the fun part, let's go ahead and add a few hundred more fish to this thing. Well, hopefully you went on to enjoy this video. I have to say that all the fish that were filmed in this video today are actually all gone. I've sold all of those fish. I opened my garage, I posted on a local Facebook fish group that I had guppies for sale, and people came over, netted them out, and bought all of them. But at the time that this video is coming out, there's actually just hundreds of more fish that have been stocked into this pond. And you're gonna get to see that in an upcoming video, plus all other kinds of fish. We're about to do an axolotl update video, all kinds of things. So make sure that you are subscribed, that your notification bell is turned on. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Links to both are down below. Check us out on freshwaterscrub.com. With all that, guys, I truly am grateful for you taking your time to come and watch these videos. And I hope to see you around again soon. So with that, we'll see you next time.